this is the full mental health guide. In this guide, I will tell you everything I know about mental health, its importance, how to change it, how to improve it and worsen it, how you get into the situation in the first place. And I will also give you some book recommendations about mental health, and you're going to learn about concepts such as the vicious cycle. Chapter 1. What is mental health? Well, mental health is the state of your mind. It's the mood of your mind. And it's not the current mood of your mind, it's the overall mood of your mind. For example, you might have good mental health, but still be sad because something happened. Or you might have bad mental health but you are still happy at the moment because something happened. How you can measure your mental health is actually that you just think. If you just kind of had your memories as a video, right, and you play that video, then how would you feel in most of that video? If for the biggest part of that video you were sad, that means your mental health probably isn't that great. And if for the majority you were happy, that means that your mental health might be better than you think. Okay, so that was chapter 1. Now let's move on to chapter 2, the importance of mental health. Well, mental health is extremely important because the consequences of bad mental health are just too big to ignore it. The consequences of bad mental health are that you have no energy, you do not feel motivated, you don't want to do anything, you think of yourself lowly. You don't think of yourself as a person who has some value. You think that people are better than you, and many, many more. And in some worst cases, you might think that you'd be better off just not living, which is just false. And many more other consequences. This is why a lot of people in the self-improvement community, for example, talk a lot about mental health because they understand how vital it is. And as a person who once had bad mental health, I can tell you some advice as to how to improve it on my journey to improving it, because I've been on this journey for about a year, and I can say that my mental health has just basically made a 180. As back then I was like I think it was March of 2022, I was still feeling extremely bad about myself. And now it's May of 2023, and I feel great about myself. I don't have any inferiority complexes. And I can now tell you how you can get to that point, hopefully. Chapter 3, how to improve your mental health. This is really tricky, kinda, because you improve your mental health by doing things that do something that's called delayed gratification. And that concept is basically just doing something that's hard right now so that your future self is happier. And most common example of this is exercise. During exercise, it's painful, right? Like exercise is painful. During it, you feel bad because, well, it hurts, right? Like you're doing like squats and your legs hurt, but after a workout, you feel good. You just feel great. You feel like I'm glad I did that workout instead of staying at home. You're glad, and this is one of the best ways to improve your mental health. And although it's a very good way to improve it, it's not the only one, and it's not the ultimate way to improve your mental health. Another way that you can improve your mental health is by spending more time with nature and going outside. Now, there's a lot of people who go outside a lot but still have bad mental health. And now that is caused by many other factors, but it may also be because they're not spending enough time with nature. Because even though you're going outside, you're like in the city and cities aren't really good for your mental health because, well, they're loud. There's probably like a higher crime rate. There's like the city is like more busy, so you have to be on a tighter schedule. If you were in a village right now, I can guarantee if you move to the countryside, your mental health would improve by at least 20%. I can guarantee that. Like, just trust me on this. So that is another way. The third way to improve your mental health is to do something that's called meditation. You can look on my channel that I've made some videos about meditation. You can like Google like Chris SE meditation or Chris SE mindfulness. You can also do something called gratitude journaling. Gratitude journaling is basically just having like a notebook, for example. What is it? Like I do. Like this is a notebook, and in that notebook, I every day I write down two things that I'm grateful for. You can like see it like right here. I'm grateful for visiting my uncle in the countryside. And if you can do this every day or almost every day, then your mental health is going to improve. As by gratitude journaling, you have more gratitude. What does having more gratitude mean? Having more gratitude means that, well, you think of something that might be bad, but you think of it as a positive. Gratitude teaches you to look at the positive side of things. And now a lot of people say that like, oh, you have depression, but the world is so beautiful. Oh, and that's like stupid advice, you know? That's stupid because like, how does a person who has no gratitude just suddenly is expected to have gratitude? Like it's as if somebody told you that like you've never exercised a day in your life, then somebody told you, well, lift 100 kilograms. You couldn't do that because you just have no experience. So you can actually just gain experience by, well, just writing down everything that you're grateful for. And now you can do that either every day or you can do that just as much as you want to. Like every day, you just feel you just occurs like, I'm grateful for having bought that book. So you just write it down in your journal. I'm grateful for having bought How to Influence and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Uh, so that's an example of how gratitude journaling works. Another way that helps is through community. Having a group of friends who actually support you is very good. And this is one of the main ways that you can improve your mental health. But having friends might actually worsen your mental health in some cases. And we'll get in depth into this in the next chapter, chapter 4. Okay, chapter 4. How to worsen your mental health. Well, you might not want to hear this, but doing the opposite of what I said in the previous chapter is what worsens your mental health. And if you're watching this, then probably you've done all of the things. But not only have you not done the good things, you also have done the bad things. What are the bad things? Now, this is controversial. Like, a lot of people don't talk about this. But this is one of the main reasons why people have bad mental health. And that reason is overconsumption of social media. Social media like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Again, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok again. Like, I'm emphasizing TikTok and Instagram because they're the two worst ones. Also, like Snapchat, probably. Media like this are not really good for you. Because, well, on TikTok, what do you see? What do you see? Probably like half naked women, right? And like half naked men who look better than you. So, when you see that, your mind, your brain just thinks like, this guy looks, this guy has a six pack. He's got a flat stomach. Like, he has a bicep on his bicep. Meanwhile, what do you have? Like, I don't say this to insult you, right? Like, this is what your brain genuinely thinks. And now I don't mean to like say that, oh, you lazy. No, I don't mean that. I mean that your brain thinks that you're inferior to that person, and feeling inferior is worsening your mental health. It's one of the main reasons that people have bad mental health, because they just feel like worse of a person than somebody. They feel like somebody is better than them in important ways. Uh, this is just the main reason why your mental health might be bad. Second reason why your mental health is probably bad: video games. Now, video games themselves aren't like the the action of playing video games isn't bad in itself. It's bad that what it makes you do. It makes you sit in one place for hours on end. It makes you escape from reality, kinda. Because video games are an escape. And like there might be like one person who's like very successful and like still plays video games, but that's an exception. Most people who play video games are not happy with themselves. Most people who play video games are doing it to escape it. This is why video games are extremely addictive, because it gives you an escape. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, like, without the discomfort. Because if you want everything great in life, you have to do the hard thing. Like if you want a great body, you have to go through the pain of having the discipline to go to the gym every day when you don't want to, of pushing your limits, of make like hurting your body kinda. Because like building muscle is like you're building like micro like extremely small tears in your muscle, and that hurts, right? So you're kinda hurting yourself to like yourself, if that makes any sense. I don't think it does, but you know, if you want to be rich, you have to go through the hardship of, well, building a business or getting a good job. Well, in video games, you can be uh, a god-slaying knight without the hardship. You just push a bunch of buttons, and boom, suddenly you're a winner. And this is why your mental health is bad, because your brain realizes, like, it's subconscious. Your brain subconsciously realizes that, you know, you're in real life, you're not all that. You're not a hero in real life. You're, you're not much. Okay, so that was like some, something negative. But now let's get to the positives again. In chapter 5, which is book recommendations. Chapter 5, book recommendations. I actually don't have a lot of books on this. Maybe you don't need them. I didn't personally, but maybe you do. Maybe you're more of a reading person than a listening person. I'm personally more of a listener than a reader. But if you're a reader, then I've got three books for you. The first book is wait, who's the author? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. And what this book teaches you is to realize that you need not like everything you want to do, there will be some problems, and that you have to accept that, and that every hardship comes with a reward. If you're struggling with mental health, like imagine your mental health was never bad, like playing video games was not like terrible for you, and you still had like okay mental health. You're still playing video games, you still be using social media, right? But because you're down bad, like you're bottom of the barrel mental health, then, well, then now you have an advantage before you. You got introduced to the community of self-improvement. You can watch many YouTubers like First Man, me, Hamza. Like I'm up there with the legends. My 9 subscribers. But yeah, like think about it. Now that because I'm not saying this to brag, but you've got a one in a lifetime opportunity. Like self improvement is a one in a lifetime opportunity. When you see a video on self improvement and you actually listen to it, and it can genuinely change your life, you know. And the art of not giving a fuck is a great way to kind of realize that. It's a great way to realize that every hardship comes with a reward of some sort. Second book. The second book is How to Do the Work by, bro, where is it? By Nicole Lepera. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but that book tells you about how to do the work, but also visits like trauma. It also tells you about trauma and how to heal from it. So if your mental health doesn't really stem from the bad habits, but more from childhood trauma, then this book might be great for you. I won't go into much detail, mainly because I haven't read that book. I've heard that's great. The third book, which is not really a book, it's an audio book by David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. And it's like a very good book on how to build discipline. Like I can tell you that David Goggins is like one of the most disciplined people on earth. Like he has like his discipline is like up there, right? And he's giving you a book on how to build discipline. So like you gotta know that's good. Like it's like Usain Bolt giving you a book on how to run faster. You know, like you gotta read it. And what it gives you is that it gives you how like a way to build discipline, like how to actually do it. You know, because well, it's hard. You know, I've also made some videos about discipline if you want that. But yeah, now we're heading to the last chapter, chapter 6, which is the concepts and the outro. Okay, chapter 6, last chapter. It's the concepts in mental health. And these concepts are just saying on top of my head. Like the vicious cycle. The vicious cycle is basically a concept that getting out of that rabbit hole of bad mental health is hard, you know? Because like when you have bad mental health, it's easier to just do the like play video games, social media, watch porn, like do drugs, but then those lead into again worsening your mental health, and that leads to using more, like doing more of the bad habits. That leads to once again worse mental health. So how do you do that? You know, and how you can do that is that you need to kinda just start, you know, because while you have bad mental health, it is very hard to just do it, you know, just start, you know, it's hard, but you have to, you know, there is no other way. That's the only way you can really get out of that ditch. Uh, Second concept, the like living what you preach, you know, and this isn't really applying to you, but to the people that you listen to. Because every person that you listen to, you have to make sure that they live what they preach. Me, for example, I can tell you fitness advice because I exercise every day. Like I go to the gym twice a week. I do kickboxing twice a week. I do jogging twice a week, and I exercise at home once a week. So I exercise every day. Like every day is like I do something outside of school. I can tell you about mental health because, well, I've been able to greatly increase my mental health. I can tell you about mindfulness because I've been meditating for more than a year now. So I can probably like tell you something about it. But if you have a doctor, for example, who's giving you a diet which he doesn't use because he's overweight and doesn't exercise, I'm sorry, but if that's what happens, then you shouldn't listen to the guy. I'm not saying that I know more than a doctor, but at least I've applied the knowledge that I have learned and that I'm teaching it to you right now. You know, like that's why, like, if you want a personal trainer, you'd want somebody who looks good. You wouldn't want like an obese woman to be your personal trainer because she just doesn't live what she preaches. So for same way, you don't want business advice from somebody who's broke, who's poor, who doesn't have a job. That's why me personally, I've never made a video on business because I simply don't have a business. I don't have a job. I'm too young for it. I legally can have a job in 2 years. That's why I'm not telling you anything about business because I don't have one. And yeah, I've got to think of some of I got to think of more more concepts. Another concept that's a thing is that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that means that well, the 5 people that you spend the most time with, you become more like them. And this so if your friends have bad mental health, you're gonna have worse mental health. This is what I didn't mention in chapter 4, and it's that if you have bad friends, if you have bad friends, and I don't know if you can even call them that, then your mental health will worsen because maybe their mental health is worse, and maybe they just put you down, maybe they insult you, maybe they do the bad habits that you do with them, and they don't want you to get out of that hole, you know. They're like the crab in the bucket trying to pull you back, you know. Like you want to escape, and they just kind of just hang on to your ankles, and just kind of pull you down. You don't want that. And what's actually sad is that most of the times they don't want to change with you. You know, that's sad. I know. I've also made a video on that, so maybe that will help you to overcome that fear. Because, like me personally, I've abandoned friends which are toxic. Because you have to realize that you're better than that. You know, you're better than that loser who's playing video games and doesn't want to improve his life, who prefers comfort than happiness. So yeah, that was it. That was the whole mental health course, the guide. I hope you can learn from it and apply that knowledge to well live a happy life. Sleep well, do better, subscribe, and see ya.